and Tasty Cakes podcast. I'm Bert Lepore. He's Sammy of Monte Carlo. We're hanging here with Angry Mike D, and we talk about music, movies, and so much more. Hey, it's Bert Lepore from Mixtapes and Tasty Cakes. Welcome to another edition here, another episode. Damo couldn't make it tonight, and too bad for him because we're talking about drummers tonight. We're talking about some cool drum intros. So we have Steve Tabilio from Seems Like Tuesday here. Steve, what's happening, man? You guys got a lot going on, right?
Absolutely. There's a ton of stuff going on.
I know you're still doing the cover thing, but we're not even going to talk about the cover thing tonight. We're going to talk about Seems Like Tuesday. And yeah, you guys, the singles have been doing, only got 3 singles out right now, working on the 4th coming out maybe the end of September, beginning of October. And right. Yeah, and it's September Sky, right? I believe it's Skies, yeah. So I should know that by now. September Skies.
And you're that was a big discussion. That was a big band meeting.
I'm sure it was. I played with you before. I'm sure it was.
Yeah.
I'm sure it was. And of course, we have Angry Mike D here. And Steve, so I know you got a show coming up next week because I am going to be co-hosting that show. So tell us about the show next week.
Okay, it's Friday, August 18th. It's at the Berlin Brewery. It's on the White Horse Pike. There's going to be 4 bands that night. It's going to be, it's going to be 5 acts total. It's going to be my buddy Pete Scavella. He's playing he's like a singer-songwriter, so he's going to do a little acoustic set. Then it's Cream Circus. Then it's my band Seems Like Tuesday. Then it's Rat Rod, and then Instinct. It's $10 to get in. It's free parking. We have you, Albert, emceeing the whole thing along with Jim Perry from the P Word podcast. So we got 2 guys basically entertaining the bands in between the sets and playing music and all kinds of good stuff. And there's gonna be a food truck outside. And as I said, we're playing a brewery, so they have all their own beer, and you could try a bunch of different things and sample stuff you never drank before. Yeah, it's gonna be a good evening.
Yeah. I've been at a place before, and it was really cool, nice little spot. And I don't know if they ever had bands there before, but this is the first time I'm hearing a band there. So
I
it
think they had a couple here and there. I don't know of anything of this magnitude, but they had a couple bands in there from what I understand.
Cool. Stay tuned. In the middle of the show, I'm going to break into, a piece of Looking for a Heartbreak from Seems Like Tuesday. And I'll play a little snippet of that later on in the show. And we're going to roll this on. So we got Steve, excellent drummer, one of the best drummers in the area. And we're going to talk about cool drum intros, cool drum grooves, just something where the drums are like, hey, man, that's really, really cool. And we're going to miss a ton of people on this list, I'm sure, and a ton of songs. So we're just going to, I wouldn't say totally top off our head, but we're just going to bullshit like we normally would bullshit if we were in a room together. And so Stevie, open it up. Your first one.
Okay. I'm going to go with Judas Priest had a little hiatus for a little while. They came back with the Painkiller album. Okay. So Scott Travis comes out, does the Painkiller intro, Halford screaming like the old days. Great. Yeah, I just thought that was a great intro to them. Here we are. We're going to be even heavier than before. And Scott Travis from Racer X, great double bass player, played with Paul Gilbert, followed all that shrapnel, arpeggio stuff with his feet. So it wasn't surprising when I heard him do that, but I was like, oh, that's cool. I remember that being a song, and I was like, all right, they're back. It's like Screaming for Vengeance days when they were, heavy. Yeah. So that's my first one on the list.
Dude, that's a great pick. It's actually on one of my lists too, or I might even hit Mike's list too. What a great song, man. He didn't hit your list? Wow, it's a great song. No. That drum intro, actually, Priest I always kind of liked, but I never really got into it. When that record came out, that was my favorite Priest record, and I like them more now than I ever did. And it started with that record, really, believe it or not.
Yeah, well, I thought they were bringing back the heavy stuff then.
It was just...
Because remember, like Turbo Lover and all that kind of stuff.
It got a little
bit too commercial.
Yeah.
And then they went back to
Yeah.
being them again. I thought,
Well, it's funny when we heard that Scott Travis was joining the band, we are like, the guy from Racer X, should be
yeah,
interesting.
yeah,
And it
he's a
was
good player.
really good. Great player, man. Great player. Mike D, what do you got on your list?
I'm going to go with Metallica's Blackened, and this is probably like for me. I don't remember ever hearing drums played like this before. I bought Metallica on a whim. You didn't hear them on the radio. You didn't hear them on MTV. And I didn't know what to expect. I just bought Injustice for All just to check them out finally. And geez, this just hit you in the face, man. Like, what the hell? Like,
Yeah.
I never heard somebody play the drums as hard as Lars is playing.
Yeah. And Lars gets a lot of heat, but I think Lars is pretty damn good. He's different.
Oh, absolutely.
He's different. He throws in some different kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's his own style. He's definitely got some different stuff. Steve, are you a Lars guy at all?
No.
But you are a Metallica fan. I know you like the early Metallica stuff.
Kill Them All, Ride the Lightning, Master of Puppets, and then I fell off.
Right.
Injustice was good. I just didn't like the way it sounded.
It was a different kind of drum sound. It was really
And I
good.
didn't like the 7-8 minute songs. I kind of,
yeah,
they reminded me of like, I don't know, like Maiden was doing that better, I thought.
I get what you're saying.
I don't think he's very creative player, and he's got a quick feet.
Yeah.
He's not one of my influences, but I could respect for what he did. I mean, he's a great leader.
Yeah, absolutely.
They wouldn't be that band without him, that's for sure. But I mean, as a player, he's okay. He's just not somebody that influenced my playing at all.
Gotcha. All right, I want to go with a great player. We're going to go with Iron Maiden. We're going to go Nico McBrain, Where Eagles Dare. That drum part's insane. Peace of mind. Like, that guy is fucking a beast, man.
Yeah.
That
he's
guy's
underrated.
Yeah, he's so good. He was doing, I don't know if you lent it to me or something back in the day, or you told me about and I watched, there was a documentary of when he first joined, and it was showing how he was playing the double pedal with, like, not using the double pedal, but he was doing it like with 1 foot or something crazy like that.
Yeah, he's quick.
Yeah, he's impressive, man. And he's a great drummer, really good drummer. What do you got on your list, Steve?
Okay, I'm gonna go with just taking it back to the Paranoid record from Black Sabbath.
There you go.
Go with War Pigs.
Okay, yeah.
A little Bill Ward. Okay. The reason being is, the part goes down, 1, 2, 2, 2, 2. Everybody counted that 13. Everybody did that, right?
Yeah.
Then all the fills, and then I think when you heard Tommy Aldridge do it on the Speak of the Devil record, I mean, that dude just took it to a new level.
Yes.
And he just that guy's insanely great.
Yes.
But that's one of the things when that came on, I was like, wow, I thought that was real creative, like to stop and just have the hi-hat going and on.
Yeah. And that's a key part of the song. That's a memorable part of the song.
Sure. I remember going 1, 2, 3, 4, trying to
catch it.
Hi-hat. And that was like a 7-8 minute song. I mean, it's that big jam session in the middle. So I thought that was when I first heard that, I was like, okay, I dig this. Just
it's creative.
It wasn't, verse, chorus, here comes the guitar solo, 2 choruses, and then the song.
Yeah.
It was, it took you on a little passageway, I thought.
Yeah.
It was very creative to me,
Absolutely. Mike D, what you got?
Man, I'm going to go with a little band. They're sort of underground, but they got a huge following. The OCs, man. And I really wish I could remember which album this is off of. They got about 20 albums. It's like just an insane amount to even remember. But they used 2 drummers, and this song Chem Farmer, man. It's, I guess the drummers on this is Lars Feinberg and Mike Schoen. Okay. I'm not really sure if both of them are on it or one of them. It's hard to even find the credits on who's doing what. But I'm not a big fan of surf rock or anything. But this is just, this drum groove just gets in your head, and it's just dum 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 boom, and it's just pretty much the whole fucking song. It's pretty insane.
I never heard it. I never heard that song.
Yeah, you might dig them. They're interesting. Let me ask you a question, though. You said they have 2 drummers, right? Mm-hmm. Are they playing the same thing? Or are they playing 2 different things?
It sounds like they're playing the same. I can't tell if they're doing the fills, like, one's just doing the beats and then the other's hitting the fills on some part or what.
Yeah, that's what I would think.
It sounds like they're playing the same thing. It really does, because you could hear the little echo on it.
Right. Gotcha. I'm going to go to, how about this one? Some Like It Hot. Tony Thompson.
Brilliant
drummer.
Damn, that just came out of nowhere.
Brilliant drummer.
freak out. Dun, dun.
Chic, yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, I know it's
so-
one of Dame's big guys too. Tony Thompson, man. If you don't know, you should know who that guy is. That guy is great.
You know what he also played on? Let's
What's that?
Dance, David Bowie.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, if you now that you know and you listen to him, you'll be able to
You
tell.
know his style, and he's really, really, really good.
Modern Love, David Bowie played on that too.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he played a lot of session stuff.
Oh, huge session player. But like I said, Power Station was the first time where I actually knew the guy's name. Because I knew all the other players, and then I went back and I was like, oh, he played with Nile Rodgers. I'm like, no shit, I didn't know that till after. But
Sure.
yeah, that's great player. I'm sure a huge influence on a ton of people, especially in our age bracket, probably. Like when Dame told me he was one of his influences, I was surprised. I was like, really? I'm like, wow, okay,
Well,
cool.
He's got a great backbeat. That's why.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
he's on the back end of everything, which is very
Yeah.
John Bonham-esque. You
Yes.
know, the disco version, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. What you got, Stevie?
All right, I'm gonna go way out of the box here. All right.
Yeah.
Headbangers Ball. They said, here he comes, the new, you know, he's doing a solo. It was King Diamond.
Oh, yeah, I knew you were going to say.
It wasn't Merciful Fate, King Diamond solo. Okay. He had like all the Swedish players or Norwegian guys playing, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Welcome Home, Mickey D.
Great player.
I watched him play that live. And if you really dissect that part, it's like that could just be a drum solo if you took the music out of it.
Yeah.
He's following everything. Like you could take the music out and just listen to that, and it'll sound like he's playing a drum solo.
Yeah.
But that sounded good. The drums sounded great. He looked cool. You know,
Yeah.
he's like,
Yeah.
yeah. So it was like that was something that was very memorable to me.
Yeah. When
Then
that video came out, I remember that was crazy.
Sure, I got the cassette. I remember on a school trip, I bought a cassette. We were up to New York, and I bought a cassette on the trip, and I had the Walkman,
Yeah.
and I listened to it all the way home, and I learned that song on the way home
By listening to it.
on
Yeah.
the bus. Yeah,
Yeah. That's
it's crazy.
good
You
stuff.
know, it's funny. We went to a Chinese restaurant on my trip, and I took the chopsticks, and I was playing.
that's the way.
So that's why it's on the list, because I remember that. You know,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
didn't forget that stuff. You know,
Yeah. Great. What a great player. Then he went on to play with Motorhead. So it's
Motorhead,
like,
yeah.
show you how good the guy is. Mike D, what you got?
Let's go with Smells Like Teen Spirit from Nirvana.
Dave Grohl.
And I remember when this, like, I remember I was in my house, I had MTV on. I remember they actually introduced this, like, it was like a big deal coming on. I really didn't pay too much attention until you just hear those drums clicking. It's like, whoa. And then you couldn't do anything but focus to the TV after that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had
There's a lot of
like,
promotion
maybe the next
behind.
day.
Yes,
There's a
there
lot
was.
of promotion behind Nirvana.
I didn't remember all the hype behind it.
Yeah, they hyped them
Yeah,
up.
I heard it for the first time. Like, what the hell is this? I never heard of these guys before.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to go with one of Steve's favorite players. Actually, I'm not going to go one of Steve's favorite players. I'm going to go into one of Steve's favorite players. So I'm going to say,
whoa.
I'm going to say Lee Kerslake, Over the Mountain. But as much as his version's great on the record, when you hear Tommy Aldridge do it, it's even quicker. It's just it's the same, but it's different. And I actually just watched the thing today on YouTube. He was showing how to play the intro, the difference between the way Lee played it and the way he played it. He's ridiculously good. I know he's one of your favorites.
He's very clean.
Yes.
He's a very clean player.
Yes.
But again, he took Lee Kerslake's part and made it better.
Enhanced it.
But at the same time, Lee Kerslake wrote that part.
Yes.
So,
and that's, you put that record on, you hear that, man. I'm like, oh, that's one of my favorite intros of all time.
Sure.
Like,
you come out, you hear that intro, then you got, then you hear Randy Rhoads' guitar tone.
Yeah.
Come on, man. You're like, yeah, immediately within 5 seconds, you're hooked.
Absolutely. Yeah, I totally was. What do you got, Stevie?
Did we skip Mike, or is it my turn again?
It's
Mike,
your turn again. Yeah. No,
okay.
Mike went.
Okay, I'm going to go with something a little bit out of the metal thing that we're talking.
I'm surprised even you're going this far into the metal stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, I was surprised too.
I'm very well versed in the heavy metal thing. It just ran its course with me, but I still respect it. Okay, I'm going to go off the a Phil Collins record. Okay, the record was called "Hello, I Must Be Going." It was "I Don't Care Anymore."
Good one.
That song, I don't care anymore. And he's playing
Yeah.
the drums. But I thought it was big bad toms. It wasn't like really a snare. It was just toms.
Yeah.
I thought that was very, very creative. Like, because that pattern went through the verse, the chorus, and he just rambled on top of it. I thought that was very unique. Like, if he didn't play drums, he wouldn't have wrote that song.
Yeah.
Guarantee that drum beat came, then he wrote the lyrics to it.
Yep.
For sure. But that's one that kind of stood out to me. I remember I was like, wow, okay.
Yeah.
I was a Genesis fan, and
he was cool. Yeah, he did a lot of cool stuff. And there's
he
multiple
was
songs.
everywhere. Remember at one time he was everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. And then it's funny when I seen him on MTV for the first time, I guess when he was doing, I don't know, Can't Harry Love or one of those cover songs he was doing. I'm like, who's this old guy with this like little baby kind of squeaky thing going on?
He was probably younger than we are right now.
Definitely. He definitely was. Yeah.
Honestly, I thought that's what lost steam for him. He was on such like he had like Against All Odds.
He was in a movie. He was doing all kinds of shit.
Song or whatever. He was like on a soaring. And then the Can't Harry Love, he just went boop. Like I just thought like it got uncool.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, but he did have, if you look at it, he's got a lot of hits, man. A lot
great
of hits.
Songwriter. He was a great singer. He played drums. I mean, geez.
Yeah, I mean, fuck, he played with Genesis.
He can't dance
too,
though.
You know? No, he can't dance.
Can't dance. He's very white. Very observant, Mike.
Yeah, what do you got, Mike?
Well, since we're on Phil Collins, man, I might as well throw In the Air Tonight out there.
There you go.
That's a simple, easy one.
That was
Get it
on
out of
my
the
list.
way right now.
Yeah.
I mean, you hear that this slow, mysterious build up, and then bum 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 bum.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not a huge Phil Collins fan, but I mean, I actually probably like him more now.
Yeah.
Like when I was younger, he was like old man music to me. It was like
right.
The voice kind of got on my nerves, but I guess when you get older and you start hitting that adult contemporary, you're like, wait, he's not that bad.
You know what I think made that drum fill, so identifiable is he had no bottom heads on any of his drums. So they sounded so large.
Yeah.
That but it was just so big. And it wasn't, he was playing it with both hands. So he was hitting two drums every time going down. Like, it's just one of the most memorable fills.
Yeah.
Of all time, I think. I think
Phil Collins or the drum fill?
The drum fill.
Drum fill.
Yeah, the drum fill. And then like, I think Miami Vice every time I hear that song.
Yeah, it's got that sound. It's got that sound.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with the beginning of $1 Billion Babies from Alice Cooper, Neil Smith. That I mean, what a great intro. I don't know if it was he. I'm not sure. I don't know too much about the original Alice Cooper band. I guess he was the original guy. Would be my
I think he was the first guy.
Yeah.
If not, he was very early on. I mean, that was before. That's still when they were doing, the a lot of the original guys were around. I don't know how many numbers platooned in and out of that, but
that intro's so good. It really is. What do you got, Stevie?
Okay, I'm gonna go with Jeff Beccaro, Toto, Rosanna.
Great beginning.
Yeah, that's just an incredible drum piece.
Yeah. And for the record, also the guy who played on Beat It for Michael Jackson. No, not Beat It, Billie Jean. Billie Jean he played on.
He did a lot of the Michael Jackson stuff, yeah. Among it, I think he played with Shaka Khan for a while too, or whatever. Yeah. Them Toto guys were all around.
Well, what's the name's a great writer. The guitar player's a fantastic writer. What's it? Steve Lukather. Great writer, man. Great player, great session player. Yeah, his name's all over, especially during them session stuff. Oh my God, he's all over the place. Rosanna, that's a great little drum intro.
Yeah,
it's kind of cool. What do you got, Mike D?
Let's go back to the metal a little bit and let's go with some Tool, man. Ticks and Leeches.
Oh, it's a 7/4 beat. That's a 7/4 beat.
Yeah, I'm lost on that shit.
It's weird.
It kind of starts off from this kind of tribally, kind of like these swirly drums just going everywhere, and by the end of it, it's just like this full on brutal assault. Yeah. It's just crazy.
Steve knows how hard it is to catch the 7 time. It's not easy catching the 7 time.
It's not easy, and then what's even harder is when the whole band's playing like that.
Absolutely. Yeah,
it's really needs one person to get a little lost, and it goes to shit. Real quick.
It's funny, Moses, who I write with, you guys all know Donnie. He writes a lot of stuff like that, and like his crazy ass, I'll write a song that's in 7/time, but sing it in 4/4. It's
Yeah.
I don't know how he does it. Like it's like if you think you're screwed, you kind of just got to go with it, you know.
Sure. You almost got to split your brain in half.
Yeah, yeah. And
Seriously, yeah. That's
it's
why he's
crazy.
the wolf.
That's why he is the wolf.
Yeah.
That is why. Good point, Steve. You made a good point. I'm going to go with something because Damien sent me some stuff on his list too. So me and him both had the beginning for Sunday Bloody Sunday from U2. It's another great beginning.
I had that on there too.
Yeah.
Yeah, very memorable.
Yeah.
You know what? I don't even remember that, tell you the truth.
Oh, it's got them. As soon as you hear it, you know what it is. You know, if you put it on, you're like, oh shit. And that guy, I think, as far as I know, that's been the same band since the beginning.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
How insane is that? It's the same guys.
Yeah.
I
don't know. I think they were like childhood friends. I'm almost sure.
Well, that's a long time.
I'm not a
dude.
huge U2 guy.
Yeah, me neither, but the songs that are good. That's where I'm at with them. I'm not the biggest U2 guy, but man, there's about 20 songs that I think are incredible, at least.
Well, there's a reason they've been around that long. For sure. I mean,
absolutely. I mean,
they're a
they
good
put out
unit.
some good stuff. Yeah.
To keep them together, though, you know how tough it is to keep a band together? Oh, my God.
Well, I think U2 is one of them bands when you hear it, it's them immediately, too, because of like Edge with all the effects on his guitar.
Guess what? I will say with them, the drumming, the bass player, I really didn't pay much attention to, but the drumming, the vocals and the guitar are so distinctive. Like you said, exactly who it is. Edge could play a note and you're like, I know who it is.
Absolutely. He plays the effects as good as like some of the greats, like the David Gilmours and stuff like that. He knows how to use his effects to create a sound. That's a guy. He's not like a speed demon or any kind of virtuoso guy, but it's him immediately.
Yeah. He's got a distinctive sound.
He knows how to use his equipment.
Yep.
God bless his roadie.
Yeah. Might be the same guy for 50 years.
Yeah. He's got to be a relative.
Yeah. Yep. Stevie, what you got on your list?
Okay, I'm gonna go with the Beatles. Nice. Little Ringo Starr action. Even though there's like 10 songs I could have picked, I'm gonna go with Tomorrow Never Knows.
Oh, here you go. Yeah.
With the seagulls in the background.
Yeah.
And all that. That one stuck out to me off like Revolver. I remember listening to that and being like, okay, wow, like that's cool.
Yeah.
It's something that I wouldn't play that beat there.
Right. He's different. And a lot of people they're like, Ringo was pretty damn good. I thought
you
he
can have
different.
him. He played a lot of things. He was very creative in the beats he put into the songs.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing that the average player can't play, but it's the way he played it, and he came up with that.
Right.
And plus, he's in the Beatles. I mean,
yeah.
If you're going to have
a scapegoat, it's going to be him.
Yeah. Exactly. What do you got, Mike D?
Well, since we're on the Beatles, I'm going to go with it. Come Together, man.
It's a good one.
That could have been on my list.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the way. I mean, it's like Steve said, it's nothing huge, it's nothing, but to me, it's just a way. I don't know if it's on every copy, but it's just the way those little fills go from like the left to the right and back and forth. It's just it's kind of mesmerizing,
Yeah, especially for that time period, and when they were probably mixing down from 4-track or 8-track to bounce. And back in the day, you used to have to bounce down. Like when we used to in the 80s, we had the Tascam. Remember the Tascam recorder, Steve? You used to record tracks and you would have to bounce down and flip it over, and then you would have to like bounce down a mix, bounce down. So by the time we got to the singer, you went through 8 mixes, and God only knows what the Beatles did, looping shit together. I'm going to go with another one that me and Dane both have on our list. Alex Van Halen, Hot for Teacher from Van Halen.
I had that on mine too.
That's
how memorable. I should have had that on mine, and I it just must have fell off.
Well, there's just so many songs to make,
it's crazy. That beat has been played like 1,000 times, but Alex Van Halen's known for it.
Yes.
I mean, Rod Morgenstein did that in Cruise Missile. I heard Billy Cobham do that like in the 70s on a record that I, found. I was like, wow, that's Hot for Teacher. But he was in Van Halen, 1984, huge record, jump #1 song, and then they come right out with Hot for Teacher. But that's a great beat.
Yeah. It's memorable. It's a memorable beginning.
What do you got credit for that now?
Oh, absolutely. It's Alex Van Halen. What do you got, Stevie, on your list? All
right, a song that last time I was on your podcast, it was songs that we didn't want to hear, that we thought were great, that we didn't want to hear anymore.
Yeah.
So I'm going to bring this one back. Okay, it is "Don't Stop Believing."
Okay,
it's a song I just don't want to hear anymore, but a great drum pattern by Steve Smith.
Great drummer. Another great
There's
drummer.
literally 4 different patterns, and it keeps on growing and growing and growing. So he keeps adding another element in.
Yeah.
But it starts out one beat, and by the end of the song, it's the same beat, but it's got changed 4 times. Like he keeps adding stuff to it. So
Yeah.
I thought that was a very creative drum beat on a great song with a great singer. I'm still tired of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I got to give him props where it's due. That's a really cool beat.
But that's, like you said, great example. That's what, I don't know if everybody understands, but great songwriters, they keep the parts the same, but change it each time it comes around. So there's something slightly different. I know you're big on that. I play with you a billion times. So, the second verse, the drum beat might be close, but it's not exactly the same. There's something different in there, whether it's a hold a hi-hat, if it's a different hi-hat thing, a little different pattern, there's something different there. A fill, there's something slightly different. And that's what keeps the song interesting. You go, whoa, did you hear that? It's like one of those things,
Yeah, songs keep evolving and getting more. That's the op at the end. That's what that phrase is.
Absolutely.
How to op at the end. Sort of gets all the everything's in the soup.
Yeah.
By the end of it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Mike D, what you got?
Well, another segue from Steve here. I mean, songs that we don't want to hear anymore. And I think we had this on our list. What am I going to say?
We're not going to take it.
Oh,
That's
no.
a good one.
Queen, We Will Rock You.
We Will Rock You. Yeah, I got you.
And there's nothing complicated about it. It's just one steady beat. And you know what? Till now, I really didn't know that there was no drums in that song. It was just all 4 members stomping and clapping. I thought they at least used like a bass drum. Yeah, but it was all 4 members.
Oh, yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
And another thing, like I thought it was unintentional, but they supposedly wrote that song so that their fans can get into it at their shows.
Yeah. Well, that's the folklore on the movie. That they said
I didn't watch the movie. I won't watch it either.
Yeah,
I won't watch it.
Yeah, I stopped watching movies.
Put it this way, it's coming from how like if you're a writer, you try to over complex things, and you're searching for like I can't play that chord there. It's just too ordinary. They went out of their way to be ordinary. They were like, okay, we're gonna play this that everybody in the world could go boom, boom, ga, boom. So in that sense, brilliant.
Smart.
Because every baseball stadium could do it. Every hockey game, football.
When we played Little League football, that was the thing. We used to hit our pads.
Yeah,
that was like, it's fucking great. It's a great pump.
Everyone can do that. You don't even need rhythm.
Yeah, it's a great pump me up part.
Yeah.
Okay, so I got one for you, and I'm a little out of my box on this one tonight, but there's a lot of good drum parts. I'm going to go with The Neck, Bruce Gary, My Sharona, another memorable drum part.
Very good song. I always like My Sharona.
Yep, that's another. That's
the definition to me of being a drummer. Anybody that plays drums that watch it, it's stress rock.
Yeah,
very stressed out. He's all like, I forget the drummer for Loverboy, but when he did like Working for the Weekend, he was like a nervous.
Looked like he was all messed.
Yeah, he had like the hoagie jaw, like he was all coked out. He was like, but yeah, it's also a stress kind of a song. You need your right hand, like you can almost hear that he's holding the stick really tight. He's like all jacked up on he's probably all speeding his balls off doing that song.
Now I got to think of the Loverboy playing that song.
Really look at the video. He's really stressed out. And he's like, yeah.
Good stuff. What do you got? Who went? Mike D, I guess it's Mike.
Yeah, let's go with Led Zeppelin, Moby Dick, or Moby Dick, Bonzo, Monero. I don't know. I first heard this on the box set. So it was kind of both of those songs kind of combined together, which I thought was, I'll probably catch a lot of hell for this one, but I thought was the better version of it.
Right.
So I'll go with that, which is pretty much just, it's a solo and pretty much just a drum solo to rhythm, basically.
Yeah, it was
it's just such a great
piece of music they probably didn't write lyrics to, and he's like, I'll just put my drum solo there.
Yeah, I mean,
that's probably what it was.
You got to look at it. I mean, you talk about Bonham, and you got When the Levee Breaks. That's another great intro. I mean, rock and roll. Even though I don't like that style of that Chuck Berry stuff, I'm not big on it, but it's so memorable, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, Bonham, definitely some memorable stuff.
I'll segue that into my pick. I will go Good Times, Bad Times.
There you go.
John Bonham, right off the first album. I think it was like 69. I was not even born yet, but I remember my cousin got me into that stuff when I was like 10, 11, and I actually that's one of the great ones. That right out of the gate. With
Oh, yeah.
It almost sounds like he's playing double bass, but it's not. It's the 1 foot going,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another. I mean, we could be here all day. You could say,
Oh, absolutely.
you could say a whole lot of love. I mean, you could make a John
There's
Bonham.
a billion of them. Yeah.
Yeah, but
There's
that's
a
the
billion
one
of them.
that was like, okay, that's different to me.
Yeah. Yeah. A great player, man. Mike D, what you got?
Did you skip yourself on that one?
No, I kind of fed in with the Led Zeppelin.
Oh, okay. Well, let's go like another simple one that you hear all the time, and it's a White Stripes with Seven Nation Army. Meg
Huge
White on
stadium
drums.
song. Yeah, huge stadium
Yeah.
song.
I mean,
Yeah.
for somebody who pretty much never picked up a pair of drumsticks before she met Jack White, I mean, I think she does a pretty damn good job. And
She's an odd
Uh,
player,
but
and she's kind of cool because she's different. I don't know how good
Yeah.
she is, but she's kind of different, which makes her
but
cool.
if it was
you know?
anything else, it just might not work. I mean, that's
Right.
part of it.
But I'm going to say, listening to a lot of Jack White. Jack White probably told her where to go.
I think it's what Albert said and what Mike said altogether. I don't think she's the greatest player in the world, but you take her out of that situation, you put her in Rush, she's not
Won't work.
That ain't gonna work.
but it works there.
Yeah.
So I don't think she's a fantastic player by any means, but I think that she does her job in that band.
It definitely gives it its own sound. You know.
It's almost like I don't know her background, and I don't want to talk shit, but it's almost like she didn't study
right.
music. Like, I don't know if she could sit there and do paradiddles or quadruplets or anything. She just
No, I
and
think she
went
just
for it. Don't feel.
Yeah.
I don't think she was ever like she wasn't like a drummer or musician or anything before that. She just kind of, I guess they were going out at the time, and I guess he had a drum set around from what I understand, and she picked up the drums and they just started jamming around with it. So she really didn't have any training.
She's interesting though.
Yeah.
I got one I think I'm going to put a smile on Steve's face. At least I hope I do, because I don't think anyone would have thought I would have picked this song, and I love the little drum intro. And Frankie Banali's a beast no matter what he plays. I'm going to go Quiet Riot, The Wild and the Young.
I like that song.
I love that beginning.
I really like that song. Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites from them. The boom, the little drum thing in the beginning is just so good. It's so good. What you got on your list, Stevie?
All right, I'm going to go just for the beginning itself. I'm going to go Run to the Hills, Iron Maiden, Clive Burr, Number of the Beast record. That hi-hat thing, everybody that played drums learns that.
Yeah.
It's not the complex or anything. It was just cool.
Yeah.
The way that came out. Then have the bass player come out and start the tune, which was really different.
Yeah.
Have a double lead on, that whole thing was great. And then his scream at the end. Yeah, it's just a great song.
It's a great song. And it's good for a drummer to, if you're learning, getting your chops down just with that is great practice
than
too.
You think it is when you're playing it.
It's faster.
Fast. It's faster than you think it is when you're actually playing it.
Right.
Because everything is, they have that gallop.
Yeah.
And after a while, dude, human nature is you kind of sit back in the pocket, and there's stuff that ain't in the pocket. It gallops the whole time. So you have to have that almost stressy feel, like I just said, to keep up with that. It's almost like whatever that song is. You got to kind of keep up with it.
Yeah. What do you got, Mike?
I can't believe this didn't even make my list until Steve reminded me, and I'm just throwing it out there. How have I not put Neil Peart, Rush, and let's go with Tom Sawyer?
It's on everybody's list.
There could be any one of their songs, but
you can have anything.
Yeah,
I thought like
what's that?
Go ahead, Mike. I'm sorry.
I was going to say even what's that?
XYZ
instrumental XY. Yep.
YYZ.
YYZ. XYZ was a band.
XYZ is the band. Yeah. But that was on my list. I was going to segue into that. YYZ.
Yeah. Another one.
In instrumental, and it's some of them fills are bizarre that he does in that whole thing. That whole song's great. Like, they all sound great in that tune.
Yeah.
That was one of mine. But you could this is another. You could do a whole hour of Neil Peart.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Like, you could do that for John Bonham. You could do that for the greats. You can do that for almost any song.
Yep. And speaking of that, I mean, a song that gets me pumped up, man, always did, was the intro to Back in Black. Phil Rudd,
Yeah,
AC/DC.
simple, straight down the pike.
It's just it's as simple as it is. Just you know it. As soon as you hear that, you know what it is.
Sure. I remember
what it
that
is.
song like every concert. Concerts that we went to, we would see Ozzy and Rat,
Yeah.
right? That was always on the soundtrack before the bands came on.
Yeah, it pumped you up
Every time, right or wrong, dude. That Hell's
Yeah.
Bells was another one.
Yep.
Always on
even
there.
before all the sports games, before the Flyers or whatever, you would hear Hell's Bells all the time.
Yeah,
All the
that
time.
was like now, like now another tune like that we said before. It was like "Welcome to the Jungle." It's everywhere.
It's everywhere.
That was in our era everywhere.
That's what the crazy thing is when they talk about bands that should play the Super Bowl and Jay-Z is running the Super Bowl, which is whatever. Nobody cares. But you play all this beefed up, power up, get you psyched up rock music, but you won't play a rock band at the halftime show. Come on.
It's all politics at this point.
Absolutely.
It's
they want to make it family friendly. If that's
but it's not.
It's not. When you got WAP, we're doing the WAP or WAP, whatever the fuck it's called up here.
You know it now. Like I think what they do, like how like when Prince came out, which I think was the best.
That was the best one.
So halftime ever.
Yeah.
But when he came out, it was just him, and he played bits and pieces of his songs. He threw in the Foo Fighters song, and or like Tom Petty when he was up there, he played like a lot of his songs. I think now what they try to do is they try to get so many acts on there.
Yeah.
They're singing like you get a guy up there and he's singing like literally 10 seconds and then he's done. And then the next guy's done. It's like almost like you're trying to put too much into that halftime special.
Yeah.
Maybe if you're a band and you do medley after medley, that's fine. But when you start getting like all these different acts and are only doing like a verse of their song, you don't settle into anything. It just comes and goes. You don't know what happened, and there's fireworks.
I lost all faith in seeing a good Super Bowl halftime show when they did Coldplay, man. That was
the worst one.
And I'm like, oh yeah, because when I really want to get pumped up, I throw on some Coldplay.
Yeah.
All
right, guys. So I'm going to go with for the next one. I go with Steve was talking about earlier. Red Hot, Tommy Lee. What do you think, Steve? That awesome beginning drum.
Yeah, very identifiable right out of the gate. The double bass, can't go wrong. Shout out to Devil, great album. His playing on that record's great.
Yeah,
again, pick anything off that record and it would be good.
Yeah,
but Red Hot kind of stuck out to me.
Yeah, he's a beast. What do you got, Steve, on your list?
I'm gonna go with Manic Depression by Jimi Hendrix, little Mitch Mitchell there. I like it because it's kind of, I like it because it's sloppy.
Yeah.
Like a lot of drummers in that era, Mitch Mitchell was that way. Ginger Baker, Keith Moon, they had that kind of sloppy feel to them, but it really worked in the bands that they were in.
Yeah, I mean, it was total different. They were so creative with the way it wasn't like you said straight beats all the time. It was like very maybe jazz oriented, I guess you could say.
Yeah, well, yeah, all them guys were jazz players in a rock band.
Yep. Mike D, what you got?
I mean, I'm digging a little deep now, maybe a little Stevie Wonder, Superstition, and I guess until like recent, like I didn't realize, he did the drums on that.
Yeah, I just found out too. Yeah,
he played all the instruments, I think, on most of that.
Really?
Stuff. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, I mean, he's got. There's at least two. Like I said, being a hard rock guy, I still have like 2 or 3 Stevie Wonder records. There's at least 3 of them. That you need to have in your collection. All right, guys. So I'm gonna wrap it up with one more. I'm gonna wrap it up with Aerosmith and Run DMC's version of Walk This Way, which I actually like better than the original. I think that beginning with the Jam Master Jay doing his, as Steve would say, what do you call it, Steve? The
wiki.
The wiki, yeah. I love that version. And, I said it a billion times, Aerosmith, I guess you could say Aerosmith had 3 careers, right? Their first career in the 70s. Run DMC really brought them back. And then Mike actually mentioned before that off the podcast and their third one was the soundtrack band. They're the 3 Aerosmith.
All the ballads came out.
The ballads, yeah.
Crazy and amazing. And when they start writing with Desmond Child, that was life number 3.
Yeah. Yeah,
much.
exactly. Where my favorite Aerosmith, even though I love the early Aerosmith stuff, my favorite Aerosmith, it's probably between Permanent Vacation to maybe Get a Grip. Like that's my favorite Aerosmith. For even though I love the old stuff, but that stuff in that middle, I mean, every song's pretty good. You know,
That's kind of what I grew up on. You know,
right? That could be it too. Yeah, that could be it too.
I think the
So,
productions too, like some of the
production's
earlier
great.
records,
right?
like
The early records were rough.
sounded a
The
little
production was
shoddy a
rough.
little bit. When they
Yeah.
got to like Get a Grip, you can hear the huge difference in level of production and how much money they were spending on recording, and you could just tell that they put a lot into it. So I would like to hear some of the older stuff with the newer production, not remastered, like redone now.
Redone, totally redone. Yeah, yeah. And it's weird because some bands have done that where, I guess you could say even like if you want to go to Taylor Swift, I guess, is redoing her whole catalog or started redoing her whole catalog. I guess because she got ownership or something. Like I don't know the technical of it, but
It's something to do with that. Yeah.
Something to do with that. So whatever she recorded for whoever and it got put out, she's like, screw it. I could do it on my own. I'll redo it because you can't use the same one. You have to redo it.
But does it like have the same effect? Does it have the same, charm?
It depends. Sometimes it's better. Because now it's like, look, if I do pre-production for 6 months and I go in to record, now I know what works and don't work.
I'll give you this, right? You got a great EP out right now, right? I think it's great. You sound really good on it. Everything's cool, right? If you had to go back and do the songs over, you would still do something better now.
Absolutely. You hear what you didn't do the first
like
time.
We're on our 4-song EP, and I listen to the drums back, and I'm like, I would do that fill there and switch. So you're constantly
always
being a perfectionist. So if you get a chance to go back and make more money,
right.
it's kind of a win-win,
right? Like that's smart on her end, and and like you said, we talked before about a lot of these artists that put out like somebody like Motley Crue or something like that. You'll see, man, they're putting out this album again. How many times are they going to put this out on CD or a special thing? Well, now they start adding unreleased songs because now they own the rights. So once you own the rights to it, now you're making that money. It's not going through a lecture or wherever they were at the time.
Sure, you're getting a bigger percentage. So
same
even
thing.
If you sell less records the second time, you're making a bigger percentage.
Absolutely.
Like, there's also a lesser known band I know. I listened to Dog Fashion Disco, and they put out this album, Committed to a Bright Future. And I was happy when I finally got this on vinyl. Now, I probably should have known right away because the cover was completely different. But when I put it on, I'm like, they re-recorded this. I can't believe, I just should have looked at this first. And I'm like, I hate this. It's horrible. And then I think by the 5th track, I'm like, you know what? I think this is better. It sounds cleaner. Some of the stuff that didn't make sense in the other one makes sense on this one now. It just has a better feel to it.
I think there's you can catch lightning in a bottle sometimes, and you don't want to mess with that sort of stuff. Like certain albums just sound great the way they are, even though they sound old, or you can tell the drums were with one microphone sitting in the room. There's a feel to it. But I would say a lot of the times you should use what you have in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even if you drive like a classic car, it looks great, but man, they don't have heated seats. They don't have they don't have the defroster on the side of the mirrors and all that stuff. So you got to get out and scrape it in the wintertime. So I think that you should take advantage of what's given to you.
Yeah.
Unless it's a masterpiece, then you just leave it alone.
Right. Like, like the funny thing is talking about like that stuff. Like when I re-got into vinyl a couple years ago, I was like, oh yeah, and some of it's true. You hold it, you're like, it feels like a piece of art. It's like you read the booklet, you read the lyrics, and you go, and the cool thing of the popping of the sound and all that sounds great until you put a new vinyl on and it's clean. You're like, wow. So it's like all that bullshit of like, I like the old sound. Yeah, you hear clean vinyl now.
Screw this! I'm getting a new copy. This has got to pop on like the first 5 seconds of this. I'm sick of hearing that.
It's amazing because that's the first thing you think. Oh, it's like because it's nostalgia, and you go, oh yeah, it has that that eerie kind of pop thing. And then when you hear a clean version of it, it's unbelievable.
Let me go on another side, like a band like Led Zeppelin. Like if they were to go back and they can't do it now, of course, all 4 members aren't around, but at least one of them isn't. But I mean, they couldn't recreate the sounds they did by the stuff they did to make those albums. Like they were doing crazy shit, like throwing mics and chimneys and putting
high as kites.
drums in empty rooms and like far away from the rest of the band to record, and they were just doing like different stuff.
Yeah. Well, dude, when me and Steve recorded some stuff a couple years ago, I think he put like a timber part in, and it wasn't planned. It was like, oh, what are these things? All right, let's try this. And it's just, and that stuff happens in the studio all the time. Something's laying around. There's a kazoo laying around. Let's try it. Listen, we've all tried it all.
I grabbed a talent when I was in Shiroxy. We were doing a demo, and we couldn't find a shaker. I literally grabbed a Tylenol.
Hey, that works.
And it worked, dude. It sounded great. Everybody's like, is that a shaker? I'm like, no, it's a pill bottle. Better, I was like, yes, like,
Yeah, man. So talking about Seems Like Tuesday, we're gonna wrap it up here. We're gonna talk about Steve's band Seems Like Tuesday, who's doing phenomenal on Spotify right now. Song's been out for like 3 weeks. Beautiful Day for a Broken Heart. They just re-released it actually on digital now. So besides, they did the YouTube thing, but they also have it on digital now. Any platform you want to go to, iTunes Music, Apple Music, Amazon Music, Spotify. And it's on its way to 19,000 plays in a couple of weeks, which is great.
Wow.
So I'm glad I got in your ear, Steve, about that.
Yeah, well, I got to give you credit. I was saying, I just told somebody the other day, I was like, yeah, I was just into pushing the YouTube, and I was like, you got to do Spotify, and you were right, man. We did it, and it's catching steam now, which is great.
Yeah, if you catch steam, you catch it, because the people will latch on now, which is great. The more people get to hear your stuff, a lot of people, it's how they listen to music now, digital. Me and Mike always listen to shit together, and we always listen to, especially for the show, and we leave Spotify on and we go, you find anybody new? And we kind of like compare. Like, maybe you like this band, maybe you like that band. I'm always looking for different shit.
Well, you told me about the Winger record, I remember.
The Winger record.
Dude, guess what, man?
I like that record. Good. I thought it was great.
New one?
Yeah, the new one's good.
Really good.
I was surprised. I'm like, let's listen to this for some shits and giggles. Like, I'm like, we'll probably turn it off.
I think they get a bad rap.
He really did. He absolutely did.
Beavis, what was it? Beavis and Butthead.
Beavis and Butthead.
Yeah. Everybody in that band's really good musician. They write
top notch. Yeah.
The easy come and the easy go thing.
It's sign of the times. You gotta look at that.
But now, like, that record actually holds up well.
Yeah.
Dude, the production on that. Sure. I have that, the production was great on that record.
Yeah. I know. Al turned me. He's like, "Yo, you gotta listen to this." I'm like,
the new Winger's great. Yeah, Mike even got surprised. Mike listened to Mike's like, "Wow, this is pretty good."
I know, Mike. He told me, he's like, Mike liked it too. I'm like, "Well, I gotta listen to it now."
Mike liked it. Yeah, that's what I said. He don't like that.
It's good if Mike likes it.
Yep. So we're gonna play the video.
I'm cranky.
Yeah. Curmudgeon. We're gonna play the video for "Beautiful Day for a Broken Heart" from Seems Like Tuesday. And before we do that, Steve, tell us about the show coming up on Friday.
Okay, I will tell the details again. We go on, it's Friday, August 18th. It's at Berlin Brewery. It's on the White Horse Pike. Have Pete Scavello doing an acoustic set, Cream Circus, my band Seems Like Tuesday, Rat Rod, and Instinct. We have Albert's going to be emceeing it along with Jim Perry from the P Podcast. There's going to be a food truck. It's free parking, and it's getting over around 12:30, so it's at a reasonable time so you can get home. And at
12 o'clock, the Albert's
pumpkin
glass slippers like disappear. He has to get his pumpkin.
People to come out. They're like, you can't tell somebody you're going on midnight and they're going to come out.
It's tough now, yeah.
So,
but Steve, I picture Albert wearing a cape, a hat, and a cane while he's emceeing.
For a cape, I pay him. To wear the cape.
Michelle, grab the cape.
Got to be like the Rick Wakeman cape, though. Yeah. But it should be a good night. Everybody's doing a 45-minute set, so you're not sitting through somebody playing an hour and a half and boring you to death. Or everybody's going to just hit you over the head and get off. I think it's going to be a good evening. I think it's a good lineup, and we have some quality players, and everybody's friendly, and everybody's cool in every band. It should be no bullshit fights, none of that. It should just be a good night.
Yeah. And right now, your lineup for Seems Like Tuesday. You want to tell us who's in the band?
Yeah, sure. It's Erica Gagliardi Tabilio, because she's my wife. Pete McGregor plays lead guitar. Billy Zioli sings and plays guitar also, and Chip Michaels on bass. And myself on drums. That evens out the lineup.
There you go. So these guys are doing really well right now. The videos are doing well. The songs are doing well. We still got a new song coming out called September Skies. And that'll be out end of September, beginning of October, depending on the mixing and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and,
probably second week in October, we're hoping.
Yeah. So these guys working with Tony Mecca, which is pretty awesome, and at Cambridge Studios. And so we're gonna play you the tune right now. Beautiful Day for a Broken Heart, and we'll see you guys next week. Hopefully we see you Friday. So this Friday, August 18th. So Steve, thanks for coming on. Thank everybody for letting us have you. And we'll see you next week.
All right, my pleasure. Mike, see you later. I'll talk to you.
Take care, guys.
See you, bud.
Bye-bye.